Why do we cook? We cook for food, for family, and for friends. We cook to bring people together.
Honey, that looks good. Pardon my fork.
Hello and welcome to Pardon My Fork, the WFC Final Table edition of Pardon My Fork. That's right, you guys. For the next couple of weeks, we are going to be featuring 5 of the World Food Champions from 2018 as they prepare to go on to the Final Table event in New Orleans, Louisiana. And it is going to be a really exciting one because they're doing something a little different this year. The competitors are not making their personal dishes from their categories this year. They will be making an as of yet unknown recipe and basically competing chef's style against each other. And I'll tell you, man, there are a few people who I do think are going to have a perceived advantage, but at the same time, I don't know if everyone's going to have the advantage that we think they will. And today's competitor is no different. He's a classically trained chef, and he was the bacon champion in 2018. So everybody put your hands together for Peter Radjou. Peter, how are you doing, my friend?
I'm doing great.
Peter is everywhere. He has got a couple of fantastic restaurants over in the Roanoke, Virginia area. And I'll tell you what, Peter, you've been doing competition for a little while, it looks like. And this past year, you just hit the nail absolutely on the head with the bacon category. Tell us a little bit about your experience with that first place in the WFC.
It was great. Really, I have been trying. I think this is my 4th try. Yeah. And I never placed the top 10. The closest I came was, I think, the 11th place out of the 50. But, and Mike said, keep trying. And so this actually, my daughter was one who really pushed me into this. He said, you got to try it one more time. You will do it. Yeah, I was very skeptical. And, I said, let me go have fun, have a good time. And I wasn't nervous or anything, but I was surprised. I actually won.
You gave it one more try.
Correct. Yes. I said, one more time, and I'm not going to. She said, no problem, go ahead, go and do it one last try. And then that nailed it. It was very exciting for our whole family, for us, for all the people I know, and it was a great.
That is incredible, Peter. And was there something that you did differently this time, since it was your quote unquote final try? Is there something that you decided that you were just going to do to go all out, or was there something that was intensely personal for you?
Actually, it was. I would personally, if I to tell the truth, it was the other way around, because normally, my sous chef practice. This time I just brought my wife along, and then she cooks a little bit too, but not, to the restaurant thing, but she's a great help. And my daughters, I have 2 daughters, and they kept saying, just do what you do every day, because I also actually run a gourmet kitchen in a private school where they have like 500 kids. And everybody likes my mac and cheese over there. They really love it. They say we can't get any mac and cheese like this anywhere, any other restaurant. So I said, let me incorporate that and with some bacon, and also give it another twist. And so I did what I do every day. So I did not do anything special. So I think it was simple, but really very tasty and elegant looking. Probably that's what made it win.
I love that, man. This was kind of like your fun run. You brought your wife and your daughter along, and you said, okay, we're just going to have a good time.
Yes, exactly. It was good. It was a memorable moment.
It's such a funny thing with food sport and food competition and just life in general. It's like when you stop, trying to struggle against yourself, and you just let it go, and you just say, listen, we're here to do what we do best, and we're going to have a good time doing it. And that's when it just flows out of you. It's so fascinating.
Yes, it is. Yeah, because every previous time I usually complicate myself so much and with so many techniques and so many things. Not that they weren't great, but they were more complicated or elevated dishes, which did not really go that well. It was, but this one was like an everyday food, and it was like so that hit the spot.
That is incredible, my friend, and congratulations once again.
Thank you.
I don't know how you find time to do the competitions, quite frankly, because not only do you have Taza Indian cuisine, you also just recently opened the Food Fanatics Kitchen, right?
Correct. Yes. That is actually the Food Fanatics got opened because of the win, I would say, because everybody I know, because Taza is basically Indian cuisine, and then we don't serve any pork or beef for ethnical reasons. So everybody say, "Hey, can we taste all your bacon?" Because once a year we have a bacon fest, and I cook over there. I've been winning that competition, I think, about 5 or 6 times. Every time they had a competition, I think I won, except for one time I placed second. So that what actually brought me to the main event. That was a qualifier for me to come to the main event. So everybody say, we can't wait once a year to taste the dishes. We want taste more. Can you? And I can't accommodate in my house all these people. So I said, okay. My daughter was she just graduated, and she's doing a post graduation in management, and so she was another reason. She said, let's do this, because she's been working in restaurant from she was like, I think 12, 13. So she has a passion for restaurants too, and so for food as well. So we said that's why I call Food Fanatic, because that's our truth self. That's why she said, let's be true to what we are, Just and then people will like it. So that's what. So and so cooking at home, all these dishes we're cooking in the restaurant. So that's how Food Fanatics came into place. So basically because of the win, yeah.
Wow. Okay, let's break this down for a second. You've got your 2 restaurants, one that you just recently opened, and then you said you also are a gourmet cook at a school in Roanoke.
Yes. Yeah, as I would say, you have a passion for what you do, then you're not working at all, So I just have fun cooking, and, that keeps me going. Everybody asks me, how do you do it? I said, that's actually this is like more my hobby, so I'm just cooking it in every place. And but of course, in Taza, I have some great chefs, and so I don't cook there every day, but only for special occasions, and make menus and do ordering and those kind of stuff. But the day-to-day operation, my wife is involved in there, so that she's a great help. And then Food Fanatics, my daughter comes to work. We open only in the evenings, so except for the weekends, because we don't want to stretch ourselves too thin. So we open only for dinner, like at 4 to 10, and then on the weekends we do a brunch as well on Saturday and Sunday. It's been great so far. I'm very, very pleased with the results.
I love that. That is so cool. And that makes total sense. You can't, like you said, you're going to spread yourself thin if you're trying to do full time of every single thing.
Exactly.
At what school do you cook with? And follow-up question for you, I don't suppose you do any cooking classes for the school, do you?
I do cooking classes in the summer, but this summer I'm taking a break to establish a break. But normally, yes, in the summer I do cooking classes. It's called Roanoke Catholic School, and it's in Roanoke, Virginia.
I am so jealous of the students to be able to learn from you.
Yeah, they get very excited. I think they don't know that they're not doing the classes this year. They're going to be a little disappointed. But yeah, it goes great. Like we get a lot of people enrolled in the classes during the summer. Like a summer camp, and we do lots of ethnical dishes, and we have a day every day we do Italian and Mexican, and like the Indian and Oriental. So every day is different cuisine. So that really excites them a lot.
I don't know if you guys take on adult students, but I would love to fly out there for that class.
Yeah, I do have a lot of moms and grandmas come too, to learn. So, yeah, initially it was just started for students, and a lot of other people joined in. Sort of, it's not teaching, is not my fourth way, I could say, because it's a lot of stress on me. So it's a lot of preparation, it's not as easy as cooking. Teaching somebody and making sure they're safe, and it's like, of course, I have a lot of people to help me. My chefs will come along to help. Still, it's a lot of work.
It sounds like it's real labor of love for you.
Yeah. So the school actually does support me a lot. That's one of the best things happened to me. And, when the kids they love the food, and they come back to Taja and come back to Food Fanatics, like parents and stuff like that, they support a lot. So that's why, everybody said, well, why don't you leave that job? And I said, no, I got a lot of satisfaction cooking there. So.
Yeah, I can see how you would. I mean, involving the next generation in something like that, and being able to cook not just for them, but with them. I mean, that's really
right.
There's a connection there from the heart.
Yes, it is. So so that's why I don't consider it as a job. Consider it as, I'm having not only fun cooking, but also, making sure they get. My daughters graduated. They both graduated already from the school, but they were going to. I joined when they were in school, so that's how I started letting them get good food to them. Now I make sure I get my healthy gourmet food for other kids. So.
That makes perfect sense. You're kind of, you started doing it because you were keeping it in the family. Am I understanding correctly? You seem like someone where cooking and food was a part of your childhood.
Yeah, honestly, I was the first person to venture out into the food industry itself. My dad was an engineer, but he had a real passion for cooking. So I come from India. That's my native. And so, but he didn't have that time the culinary school and all was not great when he went to school. But he did encourage me a lot, because we loved to, when I was a kid, and my dad and me used to, always come up on every Sunday. We used to just turn the kitchen upside down and keep trying different things. And so it was. I think that's what put a root in me, and then slowly I started cooking for my friends and stuff like that. They said, "Oh my gosh, you should make a career out of this." And then I saw another friend of mine who was trying to get in a culinary school. I said, "Okay, let me." Initially, there was a lot of discouragement because they were not sure how this industry is going to treat me. But then when they saw me doing good and winning. I used to enter in competition that there was in college too, and when I started winning a couple of them, they said, "Oh, okay, you look like you are." My mom, especially, she thought, cooking at home is different, but when I'm cooking outside, maybe it was not another thing. But then slowly they got used to it when I started doing well. So,
what were you in college for when you started doing the competitions?
I was in culinary school that time.
Oh, you were in culinary school, excuse me.
I was in culinary school, yeah. I went to culinary school in India.
Oh, fascinating. Like 17, 18 years old?
I was 18 when I went to culinary school, and I graduated and I was 21. And then, went straight to work. After that, some big hotels in India, and then I got an opportunity, to travel around like Singapore and Maldives, and then I got a job offer in Carnival Cruise Lines. I was a chef there for about 4 years, and then I got an opportunity in DC for another hotel, and then that's how I ended up in America. So.
That is incredible. You have had quite the journey. If you don't mind, I'm going to roll it back just a little bit because I'm curious what your experience was like at culinary school in India. Was it like a French influence, or did it stick pretty traditional Indian?
It's a mostly French influence. We did a little bit of Indian too, but mostly a lot of French influence. Like we followed the Larousse gastronomic, like the dictionary of French cooking. That's how. So it's like for 3 years of cooking. Not only cooking school, we had like almost like 45 different papers to clear. It was like a more culinary management, like hotel management. So we did from front desk to service and wine and law and hygiene and so many subjects. But then once you graduate, then you choose what line you. Some people take management, and I chose culinary. Cooking.
It's so good to get that full rounded education, though, isn't it? Because you now, as a restaurant owner, I'm sure you started leaning back on all of that back of the house training that you got, right?
Exactly. It was really incredible that, that time when you're young, you think, why the hell I'm have to, study law and do this and do that and basic science and all that. And accounts and stuff. But now it really helped me, because I do my accounting and, I just go to the CPA once a year while filing taxes. All the rest I do it myself. Now I train my wife. I don't do it now because I don't have the time. But initially when I started the business, I did all my accounting and everything. That saves a lot, because, restaurants, we don't operate in a very big margin. The lesser the overheads are, the more you can offer to your customer, because that's how the competition is.
Yeah. I talk a lot about it on my show, so I'll have to apologize to my listeners, but I did grow up in a restaurant. I started working at my parents' restaurant when I was 12. So, yeah, keeping it in the family and kind of dispersing that workload across family members, that is so important to a small business.
Exactly, yeah. Without support of family is very, very difficult. Yeah, you cannot depend on, a lot of good people, but it's like, sometimes there's nothing like the family being there.
Most definitely.
I have a good experience on that because I did lose 2 restaurants in DC and Maryland. I had 2 restaurants down there when I was living out there. But then when Roanoke, another venture brought me to Roanoke, and then even though I was trying, it's like a 4-hour drive from Roanoke to District of Columbia, DC. And so, eventually I had to close them down because it was not profitable. And, I don't, sometimes the customer satisfaction and rating, I don't get it. I don't like to get a bad name. When the customer comes in, I want to make sure they are fully satisfied. I really take a lot of pride in doing that.
Boy, and you can't hardly, a 4-hour drive in between restaurants, that makes it difficult to be present and keeping an eye on what's going on.
Exactly, yeah. You can depend on managers and chefs for only to a certain extent, but, unless you know every nook and corner of the thing, how to, save and how to give the best to the customer, I think that's why a lot of restaurants fail with this, because every aspect is so important in a restaurant.
Yes, exactly. And man, talk about an eclectic work history that you have. The hotels, I completely understand. I know a lot of chefs come up in that way, and that's a great way to go. You learn a lot in hotels, you get a lot of experience, and you can really hone your skills there. But I'll tell you what, when you said Carnival Cruise Lines, now I'm sitting here thinking that's kind of a floating hotel, but at the same time, you're out in the water. And so if you need anything, or if an order didn't come in, or the food goes bad, or I don't even know what kind of scenarios you would encounter, that's a totally different ball game. What was that experience like?
Well, that was actually really a great experience. Like, that when I actually, I grew a lot in there, learned so much, because even though, working in India and all that, we had access to a lot of stuff, but a lot of stuff was imported and, our beef basically, because we don't consume a lot of beef in India, so our beef basically came from Australia. Our lamb came from New Zealand and stuff like that. But so it was scarce. We didn't get to see a lot of stuff. But when I came to Connell's Cruise Line, it was a big eye opening for me because it was from all the meat and all everything. But I did learn a lot over there, and a lot of experience with bulk cooking, like mass production. So that's why when I'm able to do what I'm doing in school, ease for 500, because every day I feed about 350, 400 people in school for lunch, and I'm able to do it with ease because I had the experience at Carnival Cruise Line. It was a great experience, and even there we had the same. We go to cruise every day. There's a different theme, the Italian, the Oriental, and so that opened me up a lot. So, and I learned so much that I did like 4 contracts over there, and so it was each contract about 10 months. So.
And yeah, cooking those big, it's such a challenge to cook a huge quantity of food, but still keep not just the quality up, but that certain something, that je ne sais quoi, that personal touch on everything. It's so hard to put that on 400 dishes at a time.
Yes, it is. It is. Right. And you, of course, in cruise lines, there are a lot of help, like, our galley, that's what they call, and had like about 70 personnel, the 70 cooks, so, sous chefs and sous chefs. When I was a sous chef for about one full contract. So when I left, I was a sous chef.
Mm-hmm.
Is maybe basically everything is, a very timely. Everything you got to do it on time. If you miss your time, you miss the boat. So you have to keep an eye on all people do everything, and so and keep pointing out, okay, you got to do this time, do this time, and so. It was a great experience. Even a lot of management experience I gained from my 4 years over there.
Oh, yeah, of course. That probably is what set you up to start thinking about starting your own restaurant. And
yeah,
can I just assume that when you got the job in the U.S., maybe that started opening some doors for you to start thinking about opening your own restaurants?
Yes, yeah. And when the one job I got, I worked for about 8 years. And then I was looking at DC, and my friend and me. He said he was a food and beverage manager at that time of the hotel, and then we said, okay, it's time for us to venture out. And then, of course, the first hotel was a food and beverage of a hotel, and they were leasing that out. So that's what we took on our first venture, and then we went into restaurants slowly.
Peter, I want to hear all about your first restaurant. We do have to take a real quick break, so we're going to be right back with Peter Radjou, and we're going to hear about your experience opening your first restaurant. I can't wait, so you guys stick around. We'll be right back. Hey folks, odds are if you love this show, and I know you do, then you are a foodie and a food sport enthusiast. That's why I'm encouraging you to go and check out the Spoonie radio network on iHeartMedia. They've got a ton of great hosts over there, including Patrick Mosier, Mark Conway, Trey Chapman, Randy White, and so many more. So make sure to head over there and get your foodie fix on the Spoonie Radio Network. And we are back with Peter Radjou. Am I saying that correctly, Peter?
Yes, perfect.
Awesome. So you were just telling us about how you were getting ready to venture out on your own. You felt like it was time. What was the feeling? What was kind of the signature that made you think that, yeah, it's time to go?
Yeah, I was saying I was working in hotels and we were putting all this, effort and job. But so ultimately, I said, at some point, you cannot be like this for a whole life, So you need to venture out a little bit and try different things because, once in a hotel, it was a busy, very busy hotel. And we had a banquet capacity of almost 1,000 people. So it was real busy. In DC, all the hotels are so busy, especially in summer. And so it was, there was not much family time and, but then he said, let's, trying to, it was scary at the beginning to come out.
Yeah.
Because that was the time my wife was due and my second daughter. So this was the year 2000 when we opened our first restaurant. It was in a hotel and so we said, okay, we had something because we know we have a targeted clientele of people who stay in the hotel. But it was very close to the University of Maryland. So we had a lot of students, things. So it was very, very successful, the first one. So then we said, okay, let's go.
Can I ask, what were you cooking at that first one? What was your cuisine like?
Our cuisine was generally like, a lot of burgers and soups and, those kind of things. It was not any ethnic thing, but, a lot of Maryland crab cakes and crab soups and those kind of mostly traditional Eastern Shore cooking.
Mm.
A lot of fish and seafood. Of course, a lot of seafood because we did a seafood buffet, and then we did a lot of seafood, plus burgers and stuff like that for the kids and stuff like that. Second one was an Indian restaurant in DC.
Mm-hmm.
So first one was all Eastern Shore cooking.
Got it. And then you made kind of your transition into the traditional Indian cuisine. Was there a reason for that? Were you wanting to get something out of your cooking experience, going back to your Indian roots?
Basically, I did not cook. Honestly, I cooked Indian only at home. I never cooked Indian outside, even the hotels. I know how everything operates, but I had basic education on it. But I never cooked Indian, per se, in a restaurant or in a hotel. But there was a lot of demand, and when people, like a lot of Indians coming to a restaurant, they were, oh, you have an Indian chef, and where's the Indian food? I said, okay, let's see something. And then there was the opportunity come in, and somebody was selling a restaurant, and said, okay, let's venture into this. And so it was a very good location. It was very close to the capital. And so we said, okay, we can't go wrong with this. So that's why we ventured into our second restaurant.
That is pretty fascinating, my friend. It's like see a need, fill a need, huh?
Yeah. But after we opened the restaurant, about 3 months time, I think tragedy struck us. Like it was a 9/11. Actually, in 1 month, we opened August 12th, and just in 1 month, the 9/11 struck, and so it was a nightmare at that time because a lot of the streets were closed, and then people were weren't sure, looking at the color and who we were exactly, so we struggled a little bit on that time, but by God's grace, we got over that.
My goodness, that is just...
Yeah.
That would be hard on any restaurant owner, but yeah.
Yeah, exactly, because we had to actually, it was I mentioned that it was very close to the capital, so every street on there was closed. So we had to carry our grocery by hand. We had to park somewhere, carry the groceries by hand. No provider was delivering. So in that area, because of all this, we went through a lot of hell. And sometimes getting home in the night, there may be some checkpoint. It could take 3-4 hours. Like a 20-minute drive would take you 3 to 4 hours to get home after a long day in the restaurant. It was a nightmare.
My goodness.
It took a while. I know they had to do what they have to do, but so. It was very hard, and not just us, but every restaurant around that area, which was close to the capital.
Yes. Yeah. I'll tell you what, man, that would make me take a little bit of pause about where I was living for sure. Did that have any influence over you making your way over to Roanoke, or was there something else that took you there?
Not really. The hotel owners, our first restaurant which we opened up, same owners were buying another hotel in Roanoke, called the Holiday Inn. It was the Holiday Inn in Tanglewood, and they liked the way we operated our first place, and they offered us and said, "We willing to run this? Probably we will." We're going to buy this. We said, we came and looked at it, and we thought it was a pretty nice operation going on there. And so we said, we will remotely operate that with managers and chefs. So that's what we tried. But, it was always very personal. So, so it did not work that to our advantage. So, but then, my little one was missing me. I was most of the time I ended up staying here at the hotel itself. And my wife and I think decided, okay, it's probably time to make a move. Either you have to sell that, or we have to move it back into Roanoke. And they came and visited. Roanoke's a very pretty place. I don't know whether you ever been there. It's like mountainous. We have the Blue Ridge Mountains, and it's very, very pretty during spring and all the fall. So they fell in love for the first time they visited, and they okay, let's make a move. And so that's why we ended up in Roanoke. So I operated that hotel for 16 years. So
wow.
Yeah, I was there for 16 years. Then I said I needed a change. It was very monotonous for me. I said I have to go out and probably have a little more fun. So I gave that up, and it was somebody else was interested in, and so I said let me time to move on now. So.
And that's what took you into Taza.
Yeah, and then Taza I opened. Taza is my 13th year, so I opened Taza after 4 years into Roanoke, and we saw a lot of. We were catering, some of the Indian clientele, and said, but we said everybody was saying, "Oh, we need good Indian restaurants." There was two at the time, and so we decided to open Taza. And then after that, one closed down. Then we have two right now. So we have us and another Indian restaurant. So
interesting.
So Taza has been there for 13 years. So
wow, you guys are still going strong. What does your normal clientele look like? Is it just a real heavy mix of people?
It is a mix of people. I would say 60-40. 60% being, a mixed crowd, and 40, probably Indian, Pakistan, those kind of ethnic groups. Yeah, 60% I would say purebred Americans. So.
Well, you know what they say, if there are a lot of people going to a restaurant that is selling the cuisine that they know and that they grew up with, you know, I'm in Oregon, right? And so if we go into a Mexican restaurant and there are a whole bunch of Latinos, that's usually a really, really good sign.
That is, no, I really, it's very, very important. I'm very 100% agree with you because people come in and they see no other Indian, probably in say Taza, no other Indian. They began to doubt: is this really authentic? Why are there no other people sitting here? Why are there no people dining? But when they see other Indians, also dine, they know that I think this is authentic food. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So that may play a major role. I always. Every clientele is so important, everybody. I tell my servers, my managers, everybody is a VIP, that's the most important person who walks in. Every customer, the most important walks in, you have to take care of them. So,
good food is good food. It doesn't really matter what the ethnic background of the food is. If it tastes good, you will attract people.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, and I don't know whether the taza means in Urdu it means fresh. Taza means fresh, and so that way we try and keep true to our name. So we we make sure everything is really fresh and as much as possible, organic and, good food. Yeah.
I love that.
That is very, very important. Yeah.
Well, if you started doing that 13 years ago, you were kind of on the cutting edge of that movement.
Yes. And we do a lot of catering also, like, as far as up to Richmond, we do big weddings, like, for 500 people and all that in Richmond. And so people come all the way from there. And so it's amazing. There's a lot of good Indian restaurants in Richmond too. But, I think some people have a unique taste that they like. And then we probably cater to that taste. Probably that's why they come. But we try to keep it, unless it's a really, really big one, we don't do it. Before every week we were in Richmond doing catering, but I said that took a lot of toll on my staff and myself, and so I said, no, we're not going to do this anymore. But so we just do it where only really with people who come with a lot of recommendations, and it's really worth our time. We do it now.
I love that, man. I love it. And then, of course, you went ahead and started the Food Fanatics Kitchen, and you're doing, how did you describe it earlier? Like an Indian infusion or Indian inspired flair, right?
Yeah, a little bit actually. This restaurant has a built-in brick oven for pizza. So we do a Neapolitan pizzas over here, and so the only Indian influence is on the pizzas. And there was a demand for that. Yeah, people would come to Tata and say, "Can we get order pizzas?" And we started doing that. But of course, we did the naan dough and made it into a pizza. But we didn't. It was not, not very much to my satisfaction. But it was a good pizza, but not the greatest, I would say. But then now we put some Indian flair to the pizza. So, and the rest is all, like mostly like a lot of pastas and burgers, and we have a lot of signature burgers, which are going really, really well, and a lot of my winning dishes, like the bacon on bacon, like I smoke a pork belly and wrap it with bacon and make a homemade barbecue sauce and smother that and that. So that is, we call it bacon on bacon. And the bacon mac and cheese and those kind of things. So
it's fun food. You're cooking for fun, it sounds like.
Yeah. It is for fun. I like want to try a lot of different things, and um, people loving it. So that's what as long as people like it, that's what we need to. We come up with a lot of specials every week. Um, so that keeps it more interesting too.
Mhm.
So we don't have a huge entree. We have like 5, 6 standard entrees, but then we have a special fish special every week, a steak special every week, soups and stuff like that, desserts. So that makes it more interesting for people. What we're going to have next? What are we going to have next? So it keeps them coming. Yeah.
You sound like you're a playful chef. Like you like to play with the toppings and the textures and the ingredients. And I have to wonder, I mean, that's got to lend itself to the WFC competition, does it not?
Yes. Yeah. I always, I really like to give a twist to the, even authentic recipes. Like, sometimes taken and give it a small twist, and people come, that's what sets me apart from the other people, because I don't want to be doing the same thing what my other colleague restaurants are doing. We never call our restaurants competition. We call our neighbors. That's what my wife calls is our neighbor restaurants. So we don't want to be doing the same, because if people want the same, they will go there, and if they want something a little different, they will come here. So that's how we operate. So that really helps me to in the competitions as well. So that's actually your idea.
Yeah,
that blends into that.
So you're bringing that little piece of yourself, not just to your restaurant, but also to the competition. And you know what's funny, Peter? So many people, so many other champions, food champions have talked about how that is so important when you're going and you're cooking, is to just bring that piece of yourself to the table. And it always seems to be some kind of a winning competition. We have had several different food competitors on, and the one thing that they universally talk about is once they kind of said, I am doing this one for me. I'm not going to try to do any of my chefy tricks. This is just something that I know I would love to eat, and that's what I'm making. And that typically tends to be the year that they win.
Exactly. No, exactly. It's true, because I also tell my cooks, my sous chefs, if you don't like it, if you're not going to eat this, don't even bother serving it.
Mm-hmm.
It's something you need to take pride in. I'm going to love to eat this. So that's what you need to put it out. Otherwise, that I'm very, very keen on that. Like, if you don't like it, don't even not serve it, because that means you're not fit to do this. So because you really need to, you need to be love to do that and love that food. So otherwise, it's no use in a cooking just for the sake of just cooking. That's more like fixing, not cooking.
Boy, it is so true.
A lot of people say, I fixed this, I fixed that. But fixing is different. Cooking is different.
That's a really, really good point. And speaking of cooking things, so I want to touch on what it was that you cooked this past year at the WFC. Do you remember what it was you cooked for the first round?
The first round, everybody had to do pizza. So I did a grilled bacon marmalade pizza with goat cheese. So we grilled. We made the pizza dough and we grilled it, half to half done. Then we made a bacon marmalade, and plus a bacon topping, so the double make it. And we put like arugula, goat cheese, so it was very unique. It was not a dessert pizza, nor it was slightly sweet and savory at the same time. So it was really phenomenal. And the second dish, we had to do our signature dish, and that's what remember I told you in the beginning. It was like a bacon mac and cheese, and I topped it with a bacon on bacon, like a crown bacon on bacon. So I smoked up pork belly, and then I wrapped it with bacon. So
that is incredible. What place did that put you in?
That put me in the first place. So that's what put me in the first place.
So
the bacon on bacon dish was actually the pizza. I think I was in the third position, and then the thing was I put me in the second position. The thing, but on the final 10, I did. I really wasn't prepared to do the final 10 because usually when I went to previous companies, I always prepared. I said, "Well, this is what I'm going to do," but this time I said I wasn't prepared. So I went to the department store and started looking what I'm going to do, what I'm going to do at night, and then I came up with it was fall. This was in sometime in October. So I said, let me do a stuffed acorn squash with fall vegetables, and that's what I did. So with bacon. So and that what put me in the first place.
Incredible, absolutely incredible. I mean, you were already heading into the final 10 in second place with everything that you had cooked. And you know what's so funny, Peter? You're not the first person to tell me that, how you hadn't prepared a final dish, right? Because you just thought, well, we're doing this and I don't know what the outcome is going to be. And then you end up being in the top 10. You're not the third person to tell me that.
Wow. Okay. I think, I know, because the previous years I was always prepared. It's so disappointing. Oh my gosh, I never get to do this dish. But I said this time, no, let's see whether we won, whether I may place the top 10, then we'll see. And then that night we went to Walmart and started looking, and then we went to a fresh market and we started looking for some produce which was like in season, and then I said, okay, this is what we're going to celebrate. The vegetables, the fall vegetables with bacon. So
that is incredible.
Yeah.
The stuffed acorn squash, was it just one of those things where you were walking through the store and you saw it and you started putting it together in your head, or did you kind of have an idea of that and you went to the store specifically for it?
No, I actually saw it in the store and it looked beautiful. I grabbed it. I said, this is what's going to be on my presentation plate. And I did my wife, what are you going to do with that? I said, no, let's see. We're going to stuff it. So, and so we roasted that, and then, and we had to make another sample for the judges. And so we cut rounds of a small acorn and we stuffed those. So it worked out. It was really, really, and so all of a sudden that night we brought everything we were talking about, and we said, oh my God, for presentation we need some leaves, like acorn leaves. So we said, let's do that edible. So next day morning when we opened Walmart, we were there buying flour and stuff like that just to make cookies, the savory cookies in shape of leaves, so to throw it around the plate, just for the presentation plate. So it looked really, really good.
That's so
I don't know whether you were able to see the pictures, but that came out. We were very, very satisfied with that.
I did see the pictures. We are going to actually have those up on pardonmyfork.com, and we'll post them a few other places as well so that people can see those, because it was a beautiful dish. You did an amazing job at presenting that thing. We talk about how the aesthetic of it, right? The presentation, it's a small portion of your points, but it is something that's important to keep in the back of your mind. It's this fine balance between, presenting it well and not overdoing it, because you don't want to spend too much time on the appearance of it, but you do want to make it as appealing looking as possible.
Correct. Exactly. Yes. Yeah.
You walked that fine line, my friend, and you came out on top, and it's very, very impressive what you were able to do. I'm still kind of chuckling to myself about you not having a dish ready for the final 10.
Oh, yeah. I think those kinds work better, like instant things work so much better. Like, you'll be able to, because otherwise when you think about, can I do this? Can I do that? Can I do this? There's too much of conflicting things going on, and you people ask other people's opinion, and they have their own way of doing things. But so this works much better.
It's funny, you're able to do that because you're such a trained chef and you have so much experience. And I'll tell you what, I really think that that's going to lend itself at the final table in Louisiana, in New Orleans, excuse me. I think that you going into that, and they're doing it differently this year. It's going to be, well, you're not really sure exactly what the ingredients are going to be. You just know that the winning recipe is going to end up going on a menu of a local restaurant there. And I do think that your classical training and your ability to just kind of pull things from inside, you're able to look at those ingredients and start formulating a recipe instantly. That's really going to lend itself to you. Thank you.
Yes, I'm hoping that well. Yeah, I'm really, really looking forward to it. To having, I've never been to New Orleans, on the one place I really wanted to go. So that's excited about that, and as well as excited about take it. I'm going to be true to myself and do what I do best. Instead of racking my brains and trying to do other stuff, because I think that's what works much better. So
I'm very much looking forward to it. I cannot wait to see how you fare. And I want to thank you again for calling into the show. Let everybody know where they can find you one more time, Peter.
Both of my restaurants on Facebook. And one is called Taza, and we have websites on both, TazaRoanoke.com and foodfanatics.com. So, and if you're in the area, please stop by. So I would like to meet you too.
Man, the next time I'm in that area, I am definitely going to have to come by and check it out. And you guys, we will have links to everything that Peter has going on underneath of this episode, links to both of his restaurants and their social medias. Peter, one more time, thank you so much, my friend, and I can't wait to talk to you again.
Thank you, Andy. Very nice talking to you.
And there he goes. One more huge thanks to Peter Radjou. I cannot wait to see how he fares at the final table. Someone with his classical training, his eclectic background, that he is going to be bringing all of his years of experience to the table, and he is going to be a very tough competitor to beat. And I really do think it is going to be a lot of fun to watch. So stay tuned, you guys, to everything we have going on. We are covering 4 more food champs as we ramp up to the World Food Championships final table. Thanks so much for tuning in. Thanks for telling a friend. For Peter, this is Andy, and we will see you next time.